Alrighty, so today it is time to do another installment of the top 10 LRs list. Now, with this one, you guys know how I like to do it now. We go with top 10. I think that just calling it that is a bit better, but really, the way I like to do these in the format now is to kind of do them in a tier list format. I think that this is just a healthier way of evaluating the characters and not trying to pin 1 to 2. And really, I just don't think it's a very productive discussion to be like, this character is objectively better than this character in every facet, right? When it's just like this character is situationally better than this character at certain times. And really, that's kind of what we are here for. So what we're going to be doing is trying to break this down into a bunch of categories. So for SS, that is going to be the best of the best. I would say top 5 contenders would be where I'd want to put this character, or where I'd want to put these units. At the S tier is going to be anywhere from the 6 to 10 range, and then A tier is going to be that 11 to 15 range, right around there. And if any are going to go into B, I'm not sure just yet, but we shall see. So let's go ahead and get started. You guys can see I have them sort of in like an ordered list here, but let's just get the B tier out of the way. And starting with the B tier, I'm going to have this version of Broly right here. I think this is a phenomenal damage dealing character who can have a little bit of defense with the guarding ability that he has and all of the supers that he's able to do. I think that this character can still hold his own just fine in multiple instances. And I think really when you find yourself in situations where a fight is like type neutral or your type advantage against an STR enemy, you can have the domain active and you really can get some wicked damage in there. And that is why I think that you cannot sleep on this character. The idea that he is like not good anymore, I don't think is the case whatsoever. I am a big fan of this Broly, so not a big deal whatsoever for him. I think B is a fine spot, a very good option on the movie bosses team, a very good option on the super bosses team, a very good option on uncontrollable power. Like I said, movie bosses, super bosses, transformation boost, exploding rage, you name it, full power. This character's got a little bit of everything. I think that you can run him well with extreme class teams. You can run him well with super class teams. Just a lot of different ways that this character can potentially bring value to a fight, and that is why I have him in the B tier. So let's go ahead and move on up to our boy LR Gogeta, and I'm going to put him in the same tier as Broly. I think that Gogeta is very good. The issue to me is it just takes too long to get into the blue form, and then you also it takes way too long to get the taunt active, which is where his main value is going to be coming these days, being able to dodge all of those attacks, because still, objectively speaking, his taunt, when it can work, is the best taunt in the game, because you just literally, you cannot take damage, right? If you can dodge the attacks and you can do the taunt and there's no AoE, you literally cannot take damage, where Beast Gohan potentially can take damage, Cellmax cannot, but he is still taking damage in the literal sense, right? Where he is taking these 18, 19, 20 normal attacks, which is obviously nothing, but the issue there lies in Gogeta is literally 0. So that is sort of where his taunt comes in, but the issue for me is just how long it takes for you to get into it. I think that he's still a fine character, not too much to dwell on. The transformation is good, the condition is not great, but when you go into Gogeta Blue, he is a little too much of a dodge or die character for my liking, but I am still a fan of the unit nonetheless. I think he is very good. So moving on next, I didn't intend for these to be in like a specific order here, so don't really look too much into that, but we have STR Vegito in the B tier. I think that STR Vegito is really well designed. But the issue is now is just I think that base form is just tough, right? Like, especially that first turn before you've been able to get any stacks in, especially with the way the Janemba fight works, the way the Gogeta fight works, right? It's just tough, because these, right now, the hardest content in the game, or what people are viewing as the hardest content, is going to be stuff like the Janemba fight, the Gogeta fight. And when you go into these fights like this Gogeta, or this Vegito, and even the Tech Gogeta counterpart, that turn 1 is going to be rough, right? This Gogeta, I would deem him, like, if you want me to just slide him up, I think he's an S tier character, especially with the transform version, because the transform version of this Gogeta, right, is this. When Vegito, you could argue, is just that. So that is sort of why I have this character where I have them. I think Vegeta, the base is just not good enough, but I do think that the transformation condition, or is not too bad, right? Being 77% HP or less after 4 turns is not too hard these days. You know, 1 or 2 normals will do that to you, especially in the way the content is formatted. But one flaw with that now is bosses do tend to take you from 100% HP to 0% HP just like that. And before you know it, you are sort of out of whack, right? So that is why I have this Vegito down here. I still like the character, very good on the Buu Saga team, which is getting a lot of buffs lately. So that is why I have him where I have him, but all in all, a very, very well-designed character. So that is where I'm going to have him. Now, last for the B tier, tier, I'm going to be putting Orange Piccolo. I think Orange Piccolo is very well done, right? This character, the ability to take away AoEs and supers is always going to be valuable, right? I think that it goes without saying that most of the best characters in the game are going to have that mechanic, so that is why I have him where I have him. I don't need to talk about it too much. Works well with Beast Gohan, has guard, gives key support, gets a full heal at one point during the fight. Very, very well designed character. So Orange Piccolo, aging well, but definitely on the lesser side of things these days. So now when it comes to the A tier, this is where it gets tricky because I'm going to have trouble putting characters in here, but I think the first one I'm going to put in the A tier is going to be this version of Jiren. I think Jiren is really, really good, and he just came out on Global, right? So I don't want you sleeping on Jiren. I think that this character is well done. It's just tough to kind of find a ranking for him specifically, right? I think the standby is very good. The offensive support that he's able to give if he's the second orb collector in a turn. If he's the second attacker in a turn, or the second one to collect orbs in a turn, he's going to give 70% attack support to characters when he is in that standby mode. When he gets out of the standby mode, he is hitting super, super hard, right? Like a runaway freight train, right? Some of the highest attack stats you could possibly get in the game naturally, this Jiren does have them. So I think that's worth giving some points, right? Very, very well designed character. Works well on the Tournament of Power team, which is definitely a fan favorite with characters like Tech UI, with characters like AGL UI, Evolution Blue Vegeta, and stuff like that. Really, 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 really like how this character is, but unfortunately, I think the A tier is where I'm going to put him, and that is why I'm just going to keep him down there. So, the A tier, I think, honestly, is kind of small. It's tough, right? I think if you want to toss like one more character in the A tier, in my opinion, I'm going to go with this Broly. I think this Broly is really good as well. It's the same case with Jiren. It's just we are kind of going on a number system, but this Broly has a really good leader skill. You want to use his domain as quickly as possible. The way he works with Tech Legendary Super Saiyan Broly, one of the other characters who will be on this list later, spoiler warning, right? I really like the way that he is designed, so that is kind of why I have him up here. I think that all of the characters on this list that we are talking about are really good, right? Should go without saying, but it is tough just to put them all in one spot. So Broly, attack offensively, defensively, he's bringing that utility to the table. He's working well with characters like Tech Legendary Super Saiyan Broly. He works well with other Legendary Super Saiyan Broly characters, but granted, you cannot link them together unless they are like a transformed version. So that is why I have him in the A tier. I think that his name problem isn't like a huge deal, but sometimes you can run into scenarios where you want to put the Tech Broly in slot 1, and then you have 3 Brolys on the rotation, and then you do have to forgo links if you don't want to put that Broly in slot 1, but that revival absolutely does make it so you can put him in slot 1 and let him take the damage. It's just after that or where things get a little bit tricky, but I like that the way his domain is extremely accessible, and the way that he works with Tech Super Saiyan, Legendary Super Saiyan Broly is why I think this character belongs in the A tier. So now we're going to be moving on to the S tier. This is going to be the most crowded of the bunch. I'm sort of just going to kind of put characters in here that I think belong in that spot, and we will talk about it from there, right? Now, we have to put one in here, right? From the, oh man, that's tough. So AGL, let's just talk about the UIs together, right? AGL UI and Tech UI, you guys know how they work at this point. Very dodge-oriented characters. Tech UI has the ability to nullify dodge nullification, so characters like AGL UI are not just fish out of water if you let them get caught. And I think overall that's going to work really well for you in the long run, right? Just a really well-designed sort of setup here. Honestly, now that I look at it, we're gonna have 6 characters in the top tier. I can't put any of these characters in S. But AGL UI Goku, you guys know, guaranteed dodging turn 1. Turn 1 is just so valuable. Honestly, right now, yeah, I think because that turn 1 is so important, I really do. Against Janemba, against Gogeta, like this guy's just an ace. You get him turn 1, you're going to be able to deal damage. You literally can't take damage back with this UI Goku. I think that makes the most sense. Do I think he's the best character in the game? No, but it's just that turn 1. Evolution Blue Vegeta, if that first attack is a super, it can potentially do a little bit of damage. And also, if you dodge an attack before it and lose out on the 10% damage reduction on top of it, you can be in a little bit of trouble. I think that the revive is harder to get with Evolution Blue Vegeta, and so that is why I have AGL UI above him. But Tech UI, so if we're talking about MUI, it's up here, but we're not, right? A lot of the times you are using this character in the base form, and that is what you're just going to have to deal with. So that's why I have him in S. Overall, I think he's amazing. It's the same case as Gogeta or Tech Super Saiyan Gogeta. It's just tough to put him any higher because most of the time you are using the base form, which is not going to be nearly as impressive as the others. So Now we are going to get into the best of the best, and go figure, it's actually the biggest tier. Usually I don't do this, but here we go, right? I'll try and order this one for you guys. So, number 1, I have Beast. I know, people are sick of it, but that's just how I feel. Number 2, who do I have at number 2 right now? It's tough. It is. Oh, man. I want to say I like GOTENKS, and then I like Gohan above you. Then, oh my goodness, this is tough. I like the trio, then I like Broly, then I like Cell Max, and then we'll do this. Yeah, it's so tough, man. These last 2 tiers are so tough to do. They are really tough. But I'm trying my best here. You really can rank these any way you want. I don't think there's really any issues with that whatsoever. However you want to organize it, it works for you. I'm still gonna put him up here. I like him a lot. I do. This is how I like it. This is how we're gonna do it. But Beast Gohan, you guys know how Beast Gohan works at this point. The taunt, the offense, the defense, the support, everything, right? He's just, you can't kill him. He does decent damage. He gives crits to everybody else on the unit super. He is giving ki when he gets hit. You just can't ask for much more. GOTENKS just brings a lot to the table offensively. Defensively, he gets super high defensive stats and also is getting absurd damage reduction. This character is easily, in my opinion, top 3 of the game. This version of Gohan here, the first turn is a little bit tough, so if you wanted to argue something like this or you wanted to argue something like that, I think that's fine, but I think with the standby and the attack that he's able to put out, on top of one of the hardest hitting active skills or standby skills in the game, I think that is what's going to push him up a little bit. With the trio, I love the support that they're giving, the way that they make their teams just flow so well. This isn't about the whole, like, you can use old units argument. This is about you can use the best units in the game on his team or on their team and make them look better. That's how I feel about that character. Broly, the defense, the guard, the damage reduction, the offense that he's able to put out, the AoE, the action break that he has, the easy active skills, the choice whether or not you want 90% damage reduction or you want 76% damage reduction with offense and support, or 90% damage reduction and support, or 76% damage reduction and offense is a nice choice to have. Stacking. Cell Max, you guys know how he works offensively and defensively, just has the highest possible defensive stats in the game on his taunt turn, and really just puts in work on the Movie Boss's team, on the Super Boss's team, Planetary Destruction, all of those different things. Actually, no, he's not on Planetary Destruction, right? That was always kind of one of the issues with him, even though he literally does it in the active skill, but that's none of my business. So, there we have it, the LR tier list. We're going to call this the top 10 LRs in the thumbnail and stuff like that, but this is how I have it. I think that you can make arguments and move characters around, but that is the beauty of it. I am now going to hand over discussion to you guys. Let me know in the comment section below, where would you rank these characters? Did I do a poor job? All of those fun things. I like this list. I think this looks good. But that's all I got for you in this one. So let me know what you think. Don't forget to leave a like if you did enjoy. Subscribe if you are new. Don't forget to turn on notifications. Oh, and also, I forgot, or no, I didn't forget. We are not using anniversary buffs because those are temporary. So those units don't count. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.